Wobbly Life has just released an official trailer for the space update and a release date. So let's dive into it. First off, they showed the central for the space place. Here we see all the buildings, the rocket, and even an MSC that will show you how to get to the rock villages. Then we see some rockets that take off into space, and after that we get a look into space itself. The first thing we see is there is some new space jobs. There are one where you race other people in a space race where you have to go through rings, I guess. And then there is one kind of like Space Invaders where you have to shoot some meteors that's coming down flying, and if you don't shoot them, probably breaking the spaceport. Then we see some rockets attacking each other with probably some like bouncy hammers, and then a mining job where you first mine your ores and then have to transport them in some unique vehicle. Then we see a Wobbly looking at a word seed, and when I look at it, it could be indicating that you can build accessories to your spaceship. That's kinda cool, but it could also be a mission because we see a mission to the right of this. After that, there comes a giant drill. I have no idea what it's doing, but it could be building something or drilling something. After that, we see a Wobbly driving a car with something attached to it that I guess can kind of transport the platform with some items on it. And then we see an actual spaceship landing in the space station. It looks like a garage it's landing in. And then we see a job where you have to fix a spaceship with 8 different parts. And lastly, we shall see some Wobblies throwing Rubik's Cube shapes into a box. Right after that, we see an elevator crash landing in some underground area. Then we learn there's going to be some cosmic missions, which are probably just missions in space. And right after that, we see a man teaching some students in space about plants that can become beehives. And then a bunch of bees just flew out, and I think because they all are panicking after that, so I think it may be a mission where you have to catch the bees. After that, it looks to be some kind of mini game where you dodge the flying platform. That would be my best guess, but I can't really see what it is. And then we see a man that has a hat in the SDA that has a mission where it kind of looks like he is the detective, like the one on Wobbly Island. Then we get a look into some Wobblies exploring actual planets like the moon and a giant space creature heart it looks like, or some poisonous plant, I guess. And we learn that there is a whole new world to explore here out in space. Then it quickly scrolls through a bunch of worlds like a bee world it looks like, or a giant beehive, and a big cherry watery bubble, it gets kinda like those bubbles out in space. And then we also see inside the station where there is a golden rocket, some teleportation waves and a bunch of graphical things, and a little of a faraway planet. After that, we see like a garage of the space station where you probably land all your spaceships. Then we get to see some jelly goo eggs, it looks like. A little weird, I can't really put my finger on what it is. And then we get a big picture of the station and some homes in space, it looks like. We can also see there is a mission right here, and some smaller islands also. And lastly of the worlds, we see the spaceport where there is some holograms and a cactus land to the left, And to the right there is a rock building and some smaller spaceships. And in the middle there is a cannon, the logo, and some glass circle behind the big building. Then we get to a spaceship flying into a black hole and some spaceship boosting through some wings. And then we see a robot making pizza or burger or just food in general. And a little joke about it never gets breaks. Then a wobbly going down a large hallway, some coffee pots, and the artifact glowing effect behind the paper, probably related to a mission. And ironically, we see a Wobbly Life with a mission about some top secret stuff. Then we get to see some planets again. First off is a better look at the planet with the homes. And here we see on this planet that the grass is purple and there is another mission up with the glass tentacles. And in the horizon we see the spaceport, the moon, and a different planet entirely. Then we get to see an ice spike planet with a little home and a big vine. Then we see a room that looks like a children's room with all the lights and the holograms and even the escalators. Then a restaurant of some kind with a calendar and another look at the spaceport. Then we also see the underground with some light and bridges. Then a space cinema and a board where we can see first is the room of the spaceport, then the exit and gardens, then the cinema, and lastly the disco hall, arcade, and a play zone. Then there comes a flying rocket launching to another wobbly, and lastly the logo and release date. The release date is the 18th of September, which is not far away, only about a month and a half. On the picture we see some probably big people in the story. We see the detective again, some aliens, the captain of the ship, and a dusty robot man. So yeah, there are some small parts I missed, like the different outfits the wobblies are wearing and the map logos we can see that I don't really know what means. But else, that was pretty much it. So thank you for watching and see you in the space update. Oh yeah, I just saw this. There is a small end credit where it shows the disco hall and a robot and some wobblies dancing.